The stabbing happened here downtown Columbia in this alley. This is right in between 9th Street and 10th Street in Columbia, right behind the Rome restaurant. Yes, Chance, speaking of fat babies, I'm going to give you the skinny on some details here about this meeting. Can't really complain about these results, and your report says if you're looking for a way to boost your brain, you may need to relax and think less. It is here at the United Methodist Church. This is off of 9th Street in downtown Columbia. It's the church with these big red doors. You can't miss it. We're talking here this morning how you can stay up to date on the current road conditions to keep your family safe right here by visiting MoDOT's website. MU Provost Foster told me that no jobs will be lost in this process because a lot of students are still going to be required to take these classes under these programs. The mix is made up of more than 95% recycled glass. How does the state's education system rank among other states? I'm live here with Officer Eric Hughes, who's on the CIT team. The majority party says they'll sustain funding for education and creating jobs, and also what the Democrats have to say about their plan. Unfortunately, I forgot my skis. I did see a few cross-country skiers earlier skiing on the roads. Believe it or not, what I'm standing here on is a road completely covered in snow. I'm on Cardinal Drive here in Columbia. That's off of Audubon Drive. Audubon Drive is the main road of the neighborhood. It's looking okay, but that is not the case for these side roads. I actually got stuck earlier when I was trying to drive through, and a neighbor had to come out and push me and the KOMU car I was in back onto the main street. This is no surprise to a lot of area residents and to residents all over mid-Missouri. Just look out your front door and you'll see the roads are not looking good. One resident in this neighborhood is taking the problem into his own hands and also making a profit off of it.
Yeah, I've been doing this 3 or 4 years, and this is definitely the biggest. We've been kind of slow the last couple of years, so this is a good one.
Now, when or if the snowplows do come through, the ridges that it's going to build up are going to be pretty big, so not looking forward to that. Reporting live here in Columbia, Allison Archer, KOMU 8 News. This little hero told dispatchers her family was trapped in floodwaters from heavy rain this morning. She helped lead police to their car stranded on a rural road just north of Westminster College.
And I saved everybody.
5-year-old Brianna Singleton says it best.
I saved my brother, me, my mama, Lucky.
Her family's car stalled on a flooded road in Fulton, and they were not able to escape. Brianna's mother has a hearing impairment and could not communicate with police, so Brianna took the phone.
We know where the tractor's at. That's where we're back when we can't move from you.
Okay, are you in Fulton?
Yes, ma'am.
Can you tell me what kind of car you're in?
He's in the red vehicle.
Officers arrived on the scene shortly after and say the car was stuck in a foot of water that was inching higher and higher.
We started to see the vehicle to shift. The water began moving the vehicle across the pad towards going off the embankment.
With little time to spare, Officer Morrison and his supervisors secured themselves with ropes and waded into the water. Then they attached the car to a tow truck.
And the water was almost to our car, and they pulled us up.
I would say we were within a couple minutes of a tragedy happening. It was unfolding right before our eyes.
A tragedy escaped, all because of a little girl. What did the police officer tell you when you got there?
He says, thank you. I told him, thank you. He said, you're welcome.
I think that was a pretty good moment of joy there. It made me smile from ear to ear, listen to her talk about how she was glad she was saved.
Fulton police say Brookside Drive often floods after heavy rains, but they've never had to make a rescue. You can hear the full conversation between Brianna and the dispatcher on our website, KOMU.com. It's the weekend, and time for NU student Andrew Johnson to wind down. And this evening, he relaxes by lighting one up.
It's probably later on in the day kind of thing where I got nothing else to do, so why not get some happy fun time in.
Happy Fun Time is the name of the product we smell as the flame slowly burns his hand-rolled cigarette.
It's kind of relaxing. I don't really know besides it's really lazy. I don't want to do anything, and everything kind of makes me happy. So.
But lighting up this substance won't get Johnson locked up. It's a dried plant material sprayed with synthetic chemicals that, when smoked, produces effects similar to marijuana. It's the next generation of what authorities call synthetic marijuana, best known by the brand name K3, and it's legal.
For the past 30 years or so, chemists have made synthetic or man-made cannabinoids. They get into the brain and activate or block the same receptors as delta-9 THC, the active ingredient in a joint.
Professor Miller teaches a drugs and behavior class at MU. He says a small ingredient change to the banned chemicals in K2 makes some new products like K3 legal.
And it's going to be tough for the federal government, for the Drug Enforcement Agency, to keep up with the synthetic cannabinoids. There's lots of them there, and home chemists are starting to be able to make them, just as home chemists make meth and ecstasy.
In August, Missouri banned the chemicals commonly found in products like K2. Research from the crime lab the Columbia Police Department is working with found the same banned chemicals in some recent products, just repackaged. But they also found 2 other versions, new chemicals with similar effects.
Feel more relaxed, be a little bit tired, a little bit drowsy, less anxious.
But no ban.
It may be sprayed with an analog of those cannabinoids, and so that material's been altered a little bit, so technically it's not illegal, but it was really just a minute change. It was a way to try and get around the law.
Products like this one advertise that they're Missouri compliant and that they're not for human consumption. But with no list of ingredients on the package itself, the Columbia Police Department warns consumers what they buy still may contain banned chemicals, or worse.
It may be the same thing that we had before, or it may be just a derivation of that, or it could be that it's sprayed with something entirely different that has some different effect, and that's, again, our greatest worry, that people really don't know what they're getting when they buy.
Like the Damiano.
Columbia vendors sell the product as incense.
Different scents or smells to them. And this is kind of a honey one, bubble gum.
And for one local store, business is good.
Business is definitely better than it used to be because of this product. We just reiterate that it's an aromatherapy and it can be used as that, and that's what it's for. What people take out here and do with it, I mean, we just have no control of it. Nobody has any control of anything, and it's like buying a can of paint. You know, some people take it home and actually paint their walls with it. Other people take it home and sniff it.
Police say controlling these substances would take more than just focusing on K3.
The legislature determines that they want to broaden this law so that people can't get around it by making analogs. They'll have to say these particular substances, the ones that have been identified to date, and all their analogs as well.
But the previous bill sponsor says it's up to police to better enforce the current ban of these substances.
We've passed that law, and until law enforcement, for example, the city police in Columbia, actually start enforcing the law, we're really not going to know the efficacy of the law. And I think it's putting the cart before the horse to say this law may need to be changed when we really haven't seen adequate enforcement of the existing law yet.
Despite Schaefer's conviction, Republican State Representative Ward Franz is currently drafting another bill that may put a more extensive ban of substances in place. He hopes to have it filed by the December 1st deadline. Allison Archer, QMU 8 News, Columbia. That's right. MoDOT suspended new installations of cameras back in October, but a new policy regulating their use paves the way for more, almost a dozen more for the city of Columbia.
But she was on her bicycle at the corner of Stewart Road in Providence when a car ran a red light.
An accident that almost took his daughter's life.
It was hard enough impact that it cracked her helmet. Without the helmet on, she likely would have been killed.
Made former Columbia Mayor Darwin Heineman more interested in the safety benefits of red light cameras.
We want people to be aware of the rules. We want people to be aware of the intersections when they enter them and be safe drivers. They work, they do the job, and for every life saved, it's worth it.
MoDOT says red light cameras reduce right-angle crashes by 45%. They work. And a new policy makes more possible. The policy says certified law enforcement officers must issue the citation. It says the city or county must do a full analysis of the intersection. Signage for the red light camera must be present at the intersection. Cities and counties must submit an annual report with safety and citation data, and they must also conduct a public awareness campaign 30 days before issuing red light citations.
We'll go back to the city and say, here's our policy, identify what gaps we have, and then work with them to figure out what's the best way to close those gaps.
With the ban on adding more red light cameras lifted, City of Columbia officials tell me they plan on adding 11 more to the area, starting right here at the intersection of Range Line and Vandiver. That's in addition to 5 Columbia already has.
We've seen about an 11% reduction in the number of accidents at those intersections.
The City of Columbia has issued more than 1,600 tickets with the red light cameras thus far. St. Romain says the city collected fewer than 10% of revenue from them.